You need to leave, Travis, if you're going to do that. I'm sorry. Just seeing you move around just is very distracting.
It's
Nothing personal, but it's very personal.
We've seen some more problems with the new Michelin tires. Can you guys discuss some of these problems we've seen during testing?
More issues with the tires again.
Michelin cannot get it right.
It's a first attempt and it's showing, obviously. All right, now the issue with the tires is that the riders are divided on the compounds right now. Michelin produces a 34 compound and a 36 compound tire. In the first test in Sepang, the riders loved the 34 compound tire. In Phillip Island, they loved the 36 compound tire.
The problem is Michelin committed to producing the 34 option tire after the first test, which was at Sepang. However, after the second test, which was in Phillip Island, turns out the riders actually preferred the 36 option.
So they brought both these options to the Qatar test, but Michelin had already committed to manufacturing the 34 compound tire for the Grand Prix, with the hopes that the riders would unanimously like the 34 for the race.
However, that didn't happen. The riders had differing opinions on the two options. Lorenzo opted for the 34 option. Rossi and Marquez, both undecided. Pedrosa and Vinales both actually liked the 36 option better.
So now Michelin has problems. They now have to create the second compound tire and put that into production, which is going to be twice as expensive for them to come up with the two different compound tires. Secondly, they don't even have enough time to now manufacture the 36 for the Grand Prix, the Qatar Grand Prix. They're just not going to have it there.
It sucks for the riders because some of them might actually miss out on their preferred tire of the two, which obviously hampers their rider ability. Not only that, but the testing done on the tire that will not be used is potentially now useless testing because they're not using that tire. So that test could have actually been used to test the 34 option tire, which is now being used, and they would have an extra test based on that.
A lot of the riders will set up their bike, use the Qatar test to have like the perfect setup for the Qatar race. And now they miss out on that opportunity.
See, the first two tests of the season are more just trying to get used to riding the bike fast again and testing out the new tech for that season. The Qatar test, so the last test before the first race of the season, is basically find your speed test.
You want to finalize your bike.
Yes,
there.
finalize it. Part of the tests are actually useless now, which they could have used to get faster. Now they're missing out on the data that they could use to learn how to ride the bike better.
Well, the worst part is that some riders have already tested it and love that setup, so they actually have their prime setup, optimal setup, while other riders won't have their optimal setup.
I want Vinales to do really good this season. I think he's pretty awesome, but now he likes the 36 option, which is not going to be there for the first race. The first race, you got to go off with a bang. It's the first race of the season. It's exciting. It's just spectacular. Now we might potentially miss out on Vinales having a great finish. He could have been on the podium. I mean, he still can, but there's less of a chance of him getting there, as well as Pedrosa and other riders that also preferred the 36 option.
Yeah, it just sucks for riders that it's not something that they can control. Something that they can't control happened, which will influence maybe where they finish in the race.
And really, if Dorna wants to have more of a spec racing or more have the playing field closer, it would actually make more sense to have each rider have a tire that they're more comfortable with because it allows them to ride at a higher potential.
Right.
It's actually worse for Michelin to have just one tire compound because, like I said before, the guys that prefer the other compound are now missing out.
The problem is they should just never have created that other compound tire if they weren't planning on introducing it right away, because it just creates more confusion, really, amongst riders and teams.
Or they should have been more prepared,
or have them both available, right?
Or that.
Right.
I was gonna say be more prepared to spend the dollar amount. The big thing is cost. This is MotoGP. This is not some backyard racing in America somewhere. This is the pinnacle of bike racing.
Big time.
If you want to join this championship, you better be able to back up your product and have a lot of it. Have the best tire for each rider. If it's because they can't afford two different tires, then that pisses me off.
Well, that was like Bradley Smith saying he thought it felt like Michelin had brought a whole bunch of leftover tires. Whatever they had left over in stock, we'll just use these for the test. When 4 out of the 5 tires that they bring aren't recommended to be used on that track, there's a problem. Like, there's a huge problem with that. That should never. Why is only 20% of the tires that they get recommended for the actual track that they're going to be riding on?
That is very unprofessional. And again, this is the highest level of motorbike racing in the world. You cannot have mistakes like that. You just cannot have that.
Not having recommended tires for a certain track will also add danger to the riders. For the riders, there's going to be more crashes, more chance for injury. This could affect. It's not just a dollar amount. You're putting on a person's safety now. You're talking about a person's safety that you're putting them in jeopardy of.
And the riders are the ones that push MotoGP forward. They are the ones that make the whole thing happen. They're the ones that actually make it worthwhile. It's the racing. The tire manufacturer should not be the one that could potentially differ results and stuff like that in MotoGP. It should be all down to the riders, I believe.
Yeah, they've had a year to perfect this tire that they're making. Like, at some point, you just got to get your stuff together. Like, they just need to get it together. Like, the season is about to start and they're still totally unprepared, it seems like.
If you're Michelin, you don't apply to become the official manufacturer and hope to win and then start developing tires. No, you develop that tire, come with a good product, and then when you're accepted, you have something to show already. Again, this isn't some backyard racing. This is MotoGP. This is not a joke.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Like, comment, subscribe. And if you have different opinions than us, leave them in the comments
box.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just tripped up.
You stripped up?
I stripped up. It's the exact opposite than stripping down.
Thank goodness.
Must
See you next
be
Thursday.
the Thursday.